Hi, I'm Roger, and what we're going to talk about in this little short video are the dangers of sheet goods. It would be plywood and sheetrock and stuff like that. And a little bit of a warning, part of this will be a little bit graphic towards the end, so you may want to keep the kids away, although boys may want to watch this because it'll really pertain to them and things in the future. Handling sheet goods, say you want to grab a quarter-inch sheet of plywood off the shelf at the lumber yard or the home store. Okay, a sheet of quarter-inch plywood weighs 12 pounds. You just grab it and pull it off and away you go. Probably just hold it like this. You get into the bigger stuff and this little hole like this doesn't work anymore. You're going to need to be able to grab the width of it. I'm tall, I have a long wingspan here. It's very easy for me to grab a sheet and just hold it like this. Those of you that are a little shorter or may have shorter arms, there's some devices made. This is one right here. It's made by Stanley. It's called a panel carrier. It's not expensive, it's cheap. And the way it works, and I'm using a small sheet of plywood here, and I'll get into the reasons why in a minute. Put one end on there, and as you can see here, you don't need to have as much of a wingspan. It helps you carry it that way, so you can just away you go with it. These are cheap. I don't know, they're a few bucks. I've had this for years. Usually used it when I had to deal with carrying sheetrock. One of the new things I've had here, and I've had it a couple years now, it's called a gator lift, and this is real handy for carrying sheet goods by yourself. Of course, it's always good if you got a second person. And the way this works is you just flip it over the edge of the plywood, and the more it weighs, the tighter it grips, and you put on there, you can just pick it up and away you go. So, I mean, it's a real handy tool. It works great for all types of plywood and paneling. I did find out, though, if you try to use it on sheetrock, you go to pick it up, if you turn wrong, you'll take a chunk out of the edge just this size. So it's not a real good thing for sheetrock. Okay, the reason I'm bringing this up, everybody talks about shop safety and eye protection and hearing protection and wearing respirators and that type of thing. What a lot of people don't think about is what can happen when you handle sheet goods improperly, and I am obviously going to be guilty of this, and the reasons I'll get into in a minute. Being able to pick up a certain amount of weight. I'm 62 years old, about to be 63. I'm was in very good shape, and for me, picking up 100 pounds was no big deal. I mean, if you had a barbell on the floor and you grabbed it and 100 pounds, I could pick that up real easy, no problem. But when you get into things that are large and awkward, it can become an issue. And what happened with me was I had a sheet of 1-inch oak MDO. If you don't know what MDO is, it's medium density overlay. So what that is, it's veneer, in this case oak veneer, on both sides of medium density fiberboard, which is normally called MDF, but when you have the veneer on it, it's called MDO. Sheet of 1-inch oak MDO weighs 126 pounds. Okay, I could pick that up. But the problem came when I went to pick it up and lay it across some sawhorses without damaging the veneer finish. I was very careful. I was using this, and I should have had help. But I was by myself. I wanted to get the project done. So I had it picked up with this, and I had to lift it up over my head, then grab the other end of it, turn it around, and very carefully lay it down, which I was successful doing, but it was a lot of strain. And actually it was too much strain, because what happened, and I didn't realize it at the time, it took a couple weeks for this to really show, was I got what they call, I got two hernias from it, two different kinds. First one's called an inguinal hernia, And women can get this too. It's not just men. It basically, if you, just to make it short, and if you want to really get into the specifics of it, Google it and look it up. But it ruptures the membrane in your lower groin and your stomach to where your small intestine can protrude through the stomach wall, the abdominal wall. That's not good, and it's going to have to be fixed. I got that scheduled here coming up short, which is why I'm using this little piece of plywood as an example, because I have a severe weight limit right now until I get this fixed. The other one I got is in here now, is where you want to shelter the ears of the kids. Guys, this is going to make you cringe. I'm sure you've all been in for a physical, you guys, and they get in the little thing where the doctor says, okay, now turn your head and cough. What they're checking for is what's called a scrotal hernia. This is where guys are kind of cursed from birth. As you know, any of you that are parents that have had kids, well, boys, when you're born, boys, the testicles are actually up in the abdomen, and after a period of time they descend into the scrotal sac, and there is a muscle there that allows this to happen. And of course, after they descend, it closes up, but it doesn't close up and seal. And if you overstrain yourself, or you do something and you do something awkward, and it doesn't really have to be that much weight, you can get what they call a scrotal hernia, which is where the small intestine pushes through that opening from when you were a little baby, and your small intestine ends up in your scrotal sac. And believe me, it is painful, extremely painful. And if you think coughing's bad, sneezing is a whole other thing. I hate to be this graphic about it, but I wanted to pass that caution along. It's extremely painful. I'm going to have surgery here in a couple of weeks, which is going to take me out of commission for several weeks afterwards for recovery. So I want to give everybody a warning. When you're handling large sheet goods, which are awkward, you can not only hurt your back or pull a muscle or something, which will, you know, heal up in a few days or a week or two, but when you end up with a severe injury like this from basically doing something stupid. If you don't think you can handle it yourself easily, by all means, get some help. Nothing is that important, it needs to be done that quick. And at my age, I should know better, but it's one of them things. I wanted to get it done. I thought, well, I can do this. I'm still a tough guy. Well, that wasn't exactly the case. So just wanted to pass this along. I know it got a little graphic, and you guys are probably sitting there with your legs crossed and groaning a little bit, just thinking about this, but it can happen. So with that said, thanks for watching. I know this wasn't a great topic to cover, but it is important. Safety in the shop, whether you're using a table saw here or a router, or you're worried about dust or noise or eye protection, kickback from a saw, all these things can happen. Nobody ever thinks about what can happen when you are handling materials incorrectly. So just wanted to point this out, and thanks for watching. I'm sure not everybody enjoyed this, but if you did enjoy it and got something out of it, give it a thumbs up. Of course, we're always looking for subscribers. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.